All right, hey there, small town America. Make America healthy again. You know, that starts right here in our own backyard. And if you can see right here behind me, we got in the truck. We came over here to this cute little community here in Texas. Their neighbors are helping neighbors. They're all coming together to start a community garden. We're gonna go check them out. So let's get in the truck.
A dusty back road where the tumbleweeds roll. There's a wandering soul with stories to unfold. With his worn out boots and his raggedy hat, Zach's got a YouTube channel sharing tales like that. He's a modern day troubadour, a poet of the streets, a wanderer of small towns, where life's rhythm beats from the hills of Tennessee to a Georgia bar shack. Zach finds the heart and soul that the world may often lack. Small town America is where the stories reside. Zach's searching for the magic in every nook and every side. With his camera in hand and a song in his heart, he's bridging the distances, bringing us closer with his art.
Get in the truck, small town America.
All right, hey there, small town America. I don't know if this guy needs any introduction, John. I mean, you're like all over social media. You're architect, writer, author. I mean, you're into it all. What do you got going on here?
What am I doing here? So here's what happened. My girlfriend started talking about we need to grow some stuff, and I'm like, all right, maybe. And then my friend Scott comes over here. He's in the green shirt. He called me up. He said, hey, I want to start a company where I make raised gardens for people, and I want to make one for you for free. I'm like, I'm not going to take it for free because I'm not that kind of a person. A sacrifice that costs me nothing is not a sacrifice at all. But let's do it. And I was like, I don't want to grow 3 tomatoes. I got land. Let's grow some stuff. So then he goes, okay, we'll do it next Tuesday. I'm like, all right. So I talked to my girlfriend about it. And so she does some research. I post a couple of videos on social media, and somebody says, look at this Back to Eden gardening thing. I was like, okay, I'll take a look. And so we watched the documentary, and it got us pretty inspired. At first I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. And then after watching that and talking to my neighbors and stuff, I thought, this is actually a good idea. So I'm lazy, really lazy. That's kind of what I'm known for. I talked to my neighbor here, and he mows my lawn. And I said, you know, would you be interested in this garden? You can help out, and you can eat whatever you want out of it. He goes, oh man, we want to do a garden, but we don't have room for it. We have animals and stuff. And I said, well, if you help, you can eat whatever, you know, as much as you want, honor system. So then I talked to my neighbor over here, and I said same thing, and he goes, man, we don't have any place to put a garden. We'd love to do it. Can we help? I'm like, yeah, you can help. Have as much food as you want, So then I talked to my neighbor behind me, and I talked to Josh over here, and Matt, and Scott, and a bunch of other neighbors, and I was like, I got this place for it. You know, if you guys want to help, you can have as much food as you want. Like as much food as it produces, if you contribute at all, eat all you want. And everybody's excited about it. And they go, can we make a Facebook group? And can we do all this? I was like, yeah, whatever you want. Like, I think it's a great idea. And the more we're kind of looking into it, I know nothing about gardening. But the more that we look into it, you know, you get to eat fresh fruit and vegetables, right? Groceries are expensive. It's a great reason for people to get together. You know, instead of like going to get drunk somewhere at a bar, you're like, let's pool our resources and grow good food. And I just think all the way around, it's been a positive experience. I know we've got people together, and we're doing something that I think is cool. And who knows if the world's going to end tomorrow.
Right. Well, and right now there's such a big push on the Make America Healthy again.
Yeah.
So this is a great deal. But also the thing that you found out is like your neighbor that has a wood chipping.
Oh yeah.
Now he has a place to bring your wood chips.
Right.
That's going to help natural. You have the guy that has the horse barn down the road. So you have all the natural fertilizer coming in.
Yep.
In fact, right now what we're watching these guys do is this mushroom compost.
Oh yeah.
And that's helping the company that this is trash.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We looked into it, right? And here's what we want to do. Put down a layer of cardboard. Well, I got a bobcat right here, and so the first run, I scraped all the grass off. And then dug down. We put cardboard down as a weed barrier, so cardboard's free. My friend owns CC's, and I said, hey, do you have any cardboard? He goes, oh, tons of it. So we got 2 or 3 truckloads of cardboard. At the last, we were in a rush, and so I had some weed fabric or whatever, we used that. So the cardboard was free. Then we needed mushroom dirt. I'm like, I've never even heard of mushroom dirt. I don't know what I'm talking about. So we call a few places and they go, the first one said, well, it's not season. I was like, I'm gonna do this next Tuesday. And I'm like, what if I said please? I said this on the phone and he goes, ha ha ha, actually, I do have some stuff I can give you. And he gives me a truckload. I'm like, that's a lot. So then I call another place and they go, we make 1,400 bags a week. Take as much as you want. We got to throw it away. We got to pay the dump to do it. So we got all of their stuff, and then we went to another place, and they were like, "Please take all you want." So they get these bags. They put I don't know what in them, and then they grow mushrooms out of them. And I guess you can get 3 harvests out of it, but some of them only do 1 because they don't want to risk it. And then they throw it away. And so they got to take it to the dump and pay for it. Trailer loads. And I'm like, cool. So that was all free, but this would be very, very expensive. Right. And then on top of that, my neighbor has horses. Now I used to own his house. I sold him his house, and I built the better part of this neighborhood. And I called him up. I said, "Hey, James," and he goes, "What can I do for you?" I was like, "Okay." I was wondering if you got any horse manure. He goes, "I was gonna call you and see if there was some way I could dump this off on you." I'm like, "Really? I've never even suggested I want that." And he goes, "I don't know. I just felt like I needed to give you this horse manure." And I'm like, "Okay, so as much as I want, he's got over there." And then we needed wood chips to put like 4 to 6 inches of wood chips on top of this. And I was like, oh, I've got a friend, and I've made t-shirts for him, and we've done stuff together, videos and things. And he owns a tree service. Steve Cavanis has Hallmark Tree Service. And I called him up, and this is how he answered his phone. "John Tennell, what can I do for you? How can I help you and bless your life?" And I was like, "Well, I need some wood chips." He goes, "How much do you need? I'll bury you in it." I was like, probably 5 dump truck loads. And he goes, "Just tell me where to dump it, and we'll start dumping it right away." And so he's going to come today and start dumping wood chips on us. So 100% free so far. And then when I said, "Hey, we're going to do this community thing," everybody goes, "Well, I want to be a part of it," and all the labor has been free. Now I'm going to buy them lunch, and they're going to get all the free food. But what an amazing thing!
Right. And it's the community coming together.
Yeah.
All the way from small businesses to right here to homegrown, making America healthy again, fresh produce.
Yeah, I think it's
no
really important.
chemicals.
Yeah,
all naturally done, just like, and that's part of the Eden Project that you saw. That it's natural, just like you see in the forest beds and all that, just layers and layers of compost on top of compost.
Yeah,
that grows naturally.
And it does, right? And so I don't know anything about this, but the way they say is with the wood chips on top of it, that it's like a forest bed, and so it stays moist. You don't have to water it, and it's very fertile. And it kind of, to some degree, you have good bugs, but it kind of keeps the bad bugs away or whatever. And they're like year after year, you don't. So we've done this now, but after this, we never till it again. We just add compost and we add wood chips, and then we keep on planting stuff. And we keep putting organic matter on there, and it decomposes, and you compost and all that stuff. So I think it's cool.
Right. And it's a great thing too. We talk about passing our heritage down. And with Scott, who's wanting to start this, here his son, his mom's passed that down.
Yeah.
So it's generation after. So you're actually getting to teach the next generation.
Which we need to teach the next generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's go take a look, and we'll talk with Scott. Some of these guys.
There are more than 10,000 chemicals and additives allowed in food in the U.S., often in small amounts, but many have not been evaluated by the FDA in decades. The majority are safe, but some chemicals allowed here have been banned overseas after research has linked them to cancer and developmental or behavioral issues.
We need to put the F back into the Food and Drug Administration.
Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky introduced a bill requiring the FDA to review certain chemicals that are banned overseas and to close what's known as the grass loophole, chemicals generally recognized as safe. This allows companies to skip an extensive safety review when adding many new chemicals to food.
Is the food industry basically policing itself?
I would say yes. And when you look around the world and you see what other countries are doing to protect their consumers, we are far behind.
Hey. All right, so Scott, tell me about this little business that you're wanting to start. How this adventure, as we were just talking with John, it's part of passing our heritage down to the next generation. And I know that this is kind of, gardening has been handed down through your family, through your mom, and now you're able to sit here and enjoy a garden with your son. Right. So tell me a little bit of how you're getting this started and the business that you're wanting to do.
So, as we all know, groceries are not cheap anymore.
Plus, they're expensive.
Yeah, and they're oddly sized as well. So you go to Walmart, and something I'll explain is like Walmart or your generic grocery store, and jalapenos are like that long for a jalapeno. But I go to my mom's garden, and they're like this long, like the size of your thumb. Something's wrong there. That's not normal that they would grow this big. When they're both grown in the United States, how come one's a natural size of this big and then the next one's 3 times that size? I have a reason to believe that there's probably some chemicals there. And so a lot of these chemicals we don't want to intake anymore. And
Maybe we can have big thumbs.
well, maybe. Maybe we can have some chemicals and everything grows, right?
We can like a third eye and
yeah.
like another arm on our back or
Yeah,
something.
there you go.
That'd be cool.
And so, but I just kind of got in the mindset to where I was just like, there's something's not right. Just a gut feeling that something's not right about our produce that's going in the grocery stores, and the prices are too high. And it's just help families save, and you get something fresh that you know what's on the fruit and vegetables, and you don't have any worries about what you're putting in your system. It's just straight healthy stuff for your body.
Now we're still looking for Doritos seeds, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to grow pizza. I want to grow some Doritos.
Yeah.
I want to grow gummy bears.
Gummy bears sound good.
Yeah. So where do you get those seeds? Because all I keep seeing is like apples and.
Bill Gates can tell you that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But I know, John, I've also seen that you've actually kind of gone and talked to some of the local gardeners here
Yeah.
on getting the right seeds.
We did, yeah.
So the big blessing that's happened here is my grandfather had a half-acre garden in Arkansas, and my mother had 2 sisters, and they lived off this garden. Up until 2012, when my grandfather passed, there were still jars of vegetables in the storage closet from the garden that had been, some of them had been there for 10 years. We're talking green beans, sweet corn, and it was still good. And it came straight out of the garden. It was really literally right next to his house, almost the same size as this one John's doing. And I said, man, there's fruits and vegetables that they had for 10 years that were canned and jarred that were feeding their family the entirety of their life. That's amazing.
No, it is.
And for John to turn around and say, hey, let's turn this into a community thing, I personally believe the Lord's blessed us, because my mom said, go get mushroom dirt. It's very fruitful for helping your crops grow. And we had all of this mushroom dirt literally handed to us. Yeah. And my mom was like, it's expensive. There's my little one. And she said, it's expensive. Well, it wasn't expensive, because I believe that when God's telling you to do something, you do it. He just says, here's all the stuff, go do the work.
Yeah, no.
So
It has been that way.
Right. And so, John, when you look at that, so number one, I don't know how many acres are
I got 1.3.
right here,
Yeah.
and so you just about a third of it here. What did you just knock out?
This is about 2,500 square feet, so it's not even really that big. It's about 50 by 50 roughly.
And they're talking about y'all are going to do some corn, you're going to do some okra, you're
Yeah.
going to do squash.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
everything that's out there that you.
I've got a
think of.
list. I've got a list. Are you ready? This is just stuff that we've kind of looked into that will grow here. Tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, banana peppers, carrots, jalapenos, corn, cucumbers, green beans, basil, cilantro, okra, rosemary, zucchini, radishes, leaf lettuce, spinach, snap peas, romaine lettuce, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, corn. I think I did corn twice. Sweet potatoes, eggplant, sunflower, garlic, watermelon, honeydew melons, cantaloupe, fruit trees, apple trees, pear, peaches, walnuts, fig trees, possibly avocado. I don't know. Yeah, so that's
almost everything that's in a produce.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
That you can grow here, and you know that there's not a chemical on
Right.
it. It's all done naturally right here under that one. Then then you get to bring the families together and teach that. And we were talking about, you were just talking about canning. That's kind of a lost art nowadays. People don't know about how important that is. But that's food that will last years and years. There's people still finding canned peaches and stuff these days.
Yeah. So I think that's. I think Josh and wasn't Angela talking about? Yeah. That every year at harvest they would everybody got together and they just canned everything and then kind of split it up and shared it and whatever. And I think to me the most important part is sharing with people. Right? I can't possibly eat 5 tons of produce. I would be fatter than I am now. But if we can share it with a bunch of people and I just think that it's a great opportunity to do that. To share with your community and to get opportunity to fellowship with them, and you kind of see when you're talking to somebody, you go, oh, hey neighbor, but then you're side by side with them and you're like, how's your life been? And they go, well, I'm dealing with this, and so-and-so's got cancer and bad things, whatever. And then we can help each other, right? Then we can go, oh man, I can help you with that. I've been through that. Something I came up with a couple of years ago is I want to stand beside you through this storm until the storm passes, so that what is bending does not break. right? Because it's easy to say, go be warm and well fed, and like I pray God blesses you or whatever. But it's yet another thing to go, you're going through a hard time, and I don't want you to break, and I don't want you to die, and I'm going to stand beside you, and I'm going to be the strong one next to you when you're hurting, so that what is bending doesn't break. And God talks about that too. And I look at that, and I'm like, a lot of times we feel like we're about to break, we're at that point. And to have somebody stand beside you and just go, look, I'm here with you, it's okay, I think is very important. And this just gives another opportunity to do that. I think we should look for those opportunities all the time, but I think this is a cool one to do. And I hope that it's a blessing to my neighbors and my friends and community. And I hope that it inspires other people to do the same thing, because it's really not that hard. I mean, you put seeds in the ground and they grow. And
Right, and I know, like right now, especially as we're going through the politics and the election and all that stuff, and everybody's looking at a world stage.
Right.
And on your social media platforms and all that, you use parables and you teach scripture. That all starts in your home, and it starts here in your backyard.
Yes, it does.
And it starts in your community. If you want to make a difference in the world, you got to do it right here in your backyard, and that's what you're doing.
100%. So if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. That's really what it boils down to. Go home and love your family. Do a good job at your work. Treat that like it's a responsibility. Like, do your work as unto the Lord, and be a blessing to the people that you run into. Because it's really easy to go, I want to save people in Africa, and we're going to set up a system where I don't have to touch them, but we're going to save them. But it's really difficult to go, my neighbor calls the cops on me and I hate him. Right, but I'm going to love him anyway. And I think it's very, very important to learn to love our neighbor as ourselves.
Something I heard yesterday that I'll share with this is, I heard a guy say yesterday, he said, if you want to live a miserable life, make every day about yourself.
That's a true story.
And that I thought about that, and I was like, that's true.
I want to live a miserable life.
If every day, if you're looking to help somebody else, when they're happy, you're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to feel gratitude.
Yeah.
And it's going to change everything. So, I mean, find a way to bless somebody else every single day. And I think that this community garden is definitely the steps to make that happen. And I mean, I'm down for doing more. We heard that somebody else in DFW had reached out and said that's a great idea. And I would love to see churches step in on doing this, because I don't talk politics, I don't get into politics, but I have a feeling that a lot of our farmland in the United States has been taken over and being bought by people that aren't in our best interest of taking care of our health. And so if we had it to where the churches fight back and churches built community gardens, or families have their own community garden like John's doing, it could definitely change the whole perspective of the whole United States.
Cool. I talked to a farmer last week at the farmer's market, and he said they were doing the same kind of garden, and that it's their 4th year, and it's very successful. But he said, if my garden gets too big, if my farm gets too big, then I'm like everybody else, right? Like if I have a bunch of people working for me and the people working for them and managers and whatever, then pretty soon I'm like everybody else. So the fact that you're making a garden and I'm making a garden and everybody's making their own garden, then we keep it local, we keep it small, we keep it healthy, right? And so there's some things that we can't control, but there are some things that we can. And so if you have the opportunity, then I think it's just a good way to do it.
Well, again, too, and just like what we were talking about, the same way with your guy that's got the horse farm. The guy, I was just watching one of the chicken farmers. Right now, we're facing the high price of deals, and he has teamed up with his community garden there because right now in the winter months there's no grass, there's no greenage. Right. And so now the community garden, what they can't harvest, they're giving it over to feed the chickens and keep them going. And now you're getting bigger, stronger, healthier eggs that we're not having to pay high prices for. So it just helps everybody through and through. Where can people go if they want to reach out and get involved or get it?
So I'm on all the socials. So I'm John Works Too Much on TikTok, John Tennell on Facebook and Instagram. John Works Too Much or John Tennell on YouTube. I've got a TV show called John Works Too Much that's on a bunch of things. My music is called Angels Unaware. It's on all the streaming platforms. And then I've got 7 books published on Amazon Kindle and Audible. My most recent one is called Christianity, We're Doing It Wrong. And so you can get in touch with me. And I answer all my emails, all my texts, everything, unless it's like spam stuff. I don't answer that. But Scott is the one that's going to continue to do this for other people. I build houses for a living, and so if you want to get in touch with Scott, Scott Kimes is his name. It's Kimes, and he's on all the socials as well. And I think it's First Fruits Scott, First Fruits, right? First Fruits Garden. And so he'd be happy to help you get your thing going, and if you're local to the DFW area, then help you to build it and give you the advice that you need to grow your own stuff, because I think it's important.
Hold on.
All right, so hey Scott, so where can people reach out? I know this has kind of been now a passion put on your heart, so where can people reach out if they need some help?
You can go to First Fruits Gardens on Facebook. The reason why we call it First Fruits is I'll read the scripture from Proverbs 3:9 through 10. Honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase, so your barns will be filled with plenty and your vats will overflow.
Tell them the story about the lemon. So it's better for somebody else to brag about you, and I'm going to brag about Scott for a minute. He was telling me a story. The reason why he's calling his company First Fruits Gardens is because there's a story, and we saw the video, and this guy planted 2 lemon trees. He's like, I don't know anything about this. Have you heard this story? Mm-hmm. Right. He planted 2 lemon trees, and one of them grew up, and he's like, oh, cool, and it started getting fruit on it. He's like, awesome. And another one grew up, and as soon as the fruits came out, he read that scripture about give your first fruits to the Lord. And he goes, I don't know what that means exactly. So the first lemon that came off of it, he wrote first fruits on it, and he took it to church with him, and he put it in the offering basket. And he was kind of like, I don't know where that came from, right? But then it turns out that the church was like, what are we supposed to do with this? He goes, I don't know. But God said, bring your first fruits to me. And it's important that you do that, right? It's important that you give not your leftovers to God, but you bring the first thing that you've got. You're like, this is the best thing I've got, and I want to give it to you, right? And so he did. And
he's quoting scripture from Leviticus.
Right.
Yep.
And so then this tree, like he had the 2 trees, right? One had like normal sized lemons, and you're like, that's cool. And the one where he gave the first fruit, yeah, like big lemons.
Big as your head.
Yeah, and they continue to grow, just these tons of huge lemons.
He said forever, since I've done that, the one tree that he gave his first fruit from has outsized every other lemon tree he's ever had.
Yeah, basically like...
We're going to do that with your apple tree. You're going to have a massive size apple.
With my watermelon apples. But it is important. I noticed that, it was a long time ago. I'm a generous person. I want to help people. I think that's a common thing. And so there was a time where I made excuses, and I was like, I go to church, but I don't want to pay for postage and stuff like that. I help people in real ways. I go on mission trips all the time. I do a lot of things to help people, and I feel like that's how I get back to God. And we went to a church meeting, and the pastor just said, none of us are rich. We could be, but we all took a hit, at least at my church. We all took a hit to be in ministry. None of us are getting rich. This building is not extravagant. Everything we do goes to missions and helping people and whatever. And I'm like, he's right. And he said, it's important to tithe. The end, right? Nothing, not like begging or pleading. And we only do 1 sermon a year on tithing. And at that moment, I just went, why am I being stingy? It's not like I'm broke. It's not like I can't afford it. Why am I being stingy? I was like, I want to support this. I want to support this church. I want to support the things that they do. I believe in it. Why else would I come here? And so I was just like, I'm going to start tithing. And I started tithing, and not that you do this so that you'll be blessed, but I've never talked to anybody who started tithing and didn't get blessed. I started tithing, and I think my day rate in my career quadrupled. Not 10% more, 4 times as much that year, and then it got exponentially more after that. And then I was like, cool, more opportunities to give, more opportunities to share, more opportunities to like bless other people. And the thing is, you cannot outgive God. Like, as much as you give, he's like, cool, I'm going to give that to you and then that much more. Because God has blessings for you that other people desperately need. He wants to bless you so that you can bless other people. And if you're going to be stingy with it and hold it with a tight fist, then he's going to stop blessing you. But if you receive with an open hand and you give with an open hand, then he is going to bless you beyond measure. And it's more than you know what to do with. At which point you're like, I have to give this away. It's going to go bad. Like, I have to give this to other people. And I think that's where we need to be in life. I think we need to live in abundance and give that away freely. Just like God gives to us, we need to freely give to other people. Oh, sorry.
All right. Hey there, Small Town America. Communities, we are better together.
Absolutely.
Guys, get in the truck. Make sure you go over. Check out John. Where can they find you?
Everywhere. All the socials. Yeah, John Tennell or John Works Too Much.
All right, Scott. What's your website again?
Scott Kimes or First Fruits Gardens.
All right, get in the truck, small town America.